And welcome back to Cottage Talk Fulham Media Buzz, the silly season Wednesday update. In this episode, I'm going to be talking about some transfer speculation in regards to Fulham. And at the end of this episode, I'm going to be sharing my thoughts on Fulham's announcement of a shirt sponsorship for this upcoming season. As always, please do subscribe on YouTube and Apple Podcasts. It does help other Fulham supporters find us. Also, on Apple Podcasts, please feel free to leave us a review. Okay, so let's get going. First story involves Tom Cairney. So, according to Football Insider, sources, Leicester City set sights on signing Fulham star Tom Cairney. So I'm going to read from this story and excerpt from it. This is from Peter O'Rourke. Leicester City are interested in a move for Fulham midfielder Tom Cairney. Sources have told Football Insider the 32-year-old is entering the final year of his contract, and the Foxes are hoping to lure him away from Craven Cottage. New Leicester boss Enzo Maresca has targeted attacking midfielder Cairney as he looks to build a squad capable of challenging for promotion back to the Premier League. Interesting speculation in regards to Tom Cairney. And my thoughts on this, I am buying the story. I can see why Leicester City would be interested in Cairney. He is someone that I believe could really help them propel them back to the Premier League. This would be a good move for them. In regards to Fulham and Cairney himself, I actually think this would work out for all sides. I think it is time for maybe Tom Cairney to move on, and I think Leicester City would be a good landing spot for him because I think he would play regularly. So for me, I think that this makes sense for all parties. I think what Tom Cairney has been able to give Fulham in his career has been excellent. He will be a Fulham legend in years to come. I just want to say that. I can't think of enough good things to say about what Tom Cairney has offered. Would it be a loss? Yes, it would be a loss because I think Tom Cairney has come on as a very good substitute for Fulham Football Club. He's even been able to start. Is he a 90-minute player? I don't think he's a 90-minute player anymore. So I think this would benefit Leicester City, Fulham, and Tom Cairney himself. I'm all for the move. I think this would work out well. He is 32 years old. I think it's time for him to move on for his next venture. So I think Leicester City would be a good landing spot. Let's see if this ends up happening. It's not that I want Tom Cairney to leave, but if this works out for everyone, I'd be for this particular move. Okay, let's move on. Let's talk about a former Fulham player, and that's Joe Bryan. So according to London News Online, Millwall is set to sign Fulham fullback Joe Bryan. So I'm just going to read from this article. Millwall are set to complete the signing of fullback Joe Bryan on a free transfer. The 29-year-old defender is out of contract with the West London club on July 1st. Bryan is undergoing medical examinations and other formalities are also being completed. The Lions are expected to announce his signing. Okay, so here are my thoughts on this. I actually think this would be a good place for Joe Bryan. He is out of contract, and I think Fulham need to move on from Joe Bryan. I think this would be a good landing spot for him. I wish Joe Bryan only the best in his career. We'll think of him fondly. I've talked about this on a former show, what he has offered Fulham over the years. I just don't think he's good enough right now for what Fulham are doing as being in the Premier League. I think this would be a good move for him, so I want to wish the best for Joe Bryan. I have a feeling this will become official, so best of luck to Joe Bryan if this does become official with Millwall. Okay, 2 stories down, a couple more to go. So this next story goes to my friend Dan Crawford. So according to Dan Crawford from HamyEnd.com, Fulham mulling move for Ibañez. So I'm going to read from Dan's story. So this is directly on HamyEnd.com. Reports from Italy are reporting that Fulham could make a formal offer for AS Roma central defender Roger Ibañez in the next few days. The Whites have been engaged in negotiations with Galerassi's director of football, Tiago Pinto, over the past few weeks as they consider reprising their interest in Justin Kluivert, whose move to Craven Cottage last summer was scuppered by the Home Office's post-Brexit work permit requirements. The Dutch winger joined Bournemouth last week, but Pinto is still discussing potential transfers with a number of English clubs as he tries to hand Jose Mourinho a substantial summer transfer budget. Roma Gallo Rossa reports this evening that Pinto is all aware of Fulham's interest in Ibañez, who has made 149 appearances in 4 years with Roma. The Brazilian international has 2 years remaining on a current contract at the Stadio Olimpico, and Roma has identified the 24-year-old as potential source of valuable funds, with Premier League suitors rumored to include Chelsea, Tottenham Hotspur, and West Ham United. Fulham seeking defensive reinforcements following the exit of Shane Duffy and the uncertainty surrounding Tosin Adarabioyo's future. Okay, I'm going to stop right there. So what's interesting about this is a highly rated player. I think Fulham need to upgrade. And also the fact that he is a younger player, I think bodes well. So I am buying this story. It is coming from Italy originally, but Dan Crawford is writing about it, So for me, I'm giving this some weight. We'll have to see if this happens. But I think what's encouraging here is that Fulham are looking for upgrades. And based on what I've been seeing about this player, this would be an upgrade. So we'll see if anything happens with this move, if Fulham take this to the next level. But we shall see. Very interesting transfer speculation coming out of Italy and being reported by my friend Dan Crawford. Okay. Coming up next, be sharing one final story and then also my thoughts on the shirt sponsor for Fulham for the next season. Okay. The final story involves a story that comes from the Daily Mail, and it involves Leeds United midfielder Brenden Aaronson. So I'm going to share my thoughts on this right now. So according to the Daily Mail, Fulham approached Leeds United to sign midfielder Brenden Aaronson on loan after the Whites were relegated from the Premier League. So that was the headline from the Daily Mail and part of the story. So here are my thoughts about this. And if you read the article, you will see that the crux of this is that Fulham are looking for a player to play the number 10 position. And I find this fascinating because Brenden Aaronson, in my opinion, as someone that has watched a good amount of Brenden Aaronson's career, not just with Leeds United, but also at his club in Philadelphia. He played there. He is very good at the number 10 role. So his skill set is built for the number 10 role. With Andres Pereira coming back from injury, I think this is why they are targeting Aaronson. Now, the article also states that Fulham have not met the requirements of his loan deal. I'm not sure what that means, but I would love to see this happening. I'm buying the speculation. I think this is a perfect fit. In my opinion, as someone that has watched him play, he is a player that is not going to score a tremendous amount of goals, but he's going to set up his teammates. As a number 10, I think he would be fantastic. He would flourish in the role. If you look at his stats on WhoScored.com, his highest ratings came from that number 10 role. So for me, that's where he should be. He is not a striker, and that is why I believe the Leeds United supporters were not crazy about him, because he did not score many goals. I will also say that when he played under Jesse Marsch, I thought Jesse Marsch got the most out of Brenden Aaronson. Unfortunately, when he left, he was playing under different managers, and I don't think they got the most out of Brenden Aaronson. And that's why you're going to see a lot of negativity when you see talk about him, especially coming from Leeds United. I'm going to say this is my opinion. Disregard the negativity come from Leeds United. I'm just going to say it right now because I've watched him with my own eyes. This is a player that if it is a loan deal, I think this would be a good situation for Fulham Football Club to bring him in, especially with a situation with an injury from Andres Pereira. I think this is someone that you can basically slot right in and play that role. And I think he offers something a little bit differently. You will see Andres Pereira float more to the left. I think you're going to see a player like this play more central and really just get his teammates involved. That's where he thrives. He's a player that, I'm just talking from my own personal experience watching, that I think is underrated partially because of his time with Leeds United. But just take in consideration how many different managers he had. I think if he's with the right manager, the right situation, he will flourish. I like this situation. I'm buying the speculation. I want to see Fulham bring him in. This has nothing to do with the fact that I'm an American, that he's an American. It has nothing to do with that. I'm looking at it as a player that I think would be a good fit. I think he would be a perfect fit. I don't want Fulham just to bring in American players that would not work out. I want them to bring in players in general that would work out. And Brenden Aaronson is a player that I think would be a good fit for how Marco Silva plays, and I think would flourish playing under Marco Silva. So I'm all for this speculation becoming reality and Fulham signing Brenden Aaronson on a loan deal. I would like it to be a permanent deal, but I think a loan deal does make sense. It absolutely makes sense. So for me, I'm all for this. Let's see if this one happens. There's other speculation out there that I didn't cover today. I hopefully will be covering that in my next episode, which will be on Sunday. But I just wanted to share my thoughts on some of the speculation that you are seeing with Fulham Football Club. So now I'm going to end with talking about the announcement today from Fulham Football Club on a new sponsorship deal for their shirt. So it is entitled, Fulham announces record sponsorship with SBOTOP. So I'm going to read directly from the article and I'm going to share my thoughts on it. So Fulham Football Club can confirm a record sponsorship deal with global betting brand SBOTOP as front of shirt and personal partner for the 2023-2024 season. The SBOTOP logo will be featured on the men's first team kit and training kit sleeve. The team will first don the new kit during preseason, including when they take to the pitch in America as part of the Premier League Summer Series this July, following the club's official kit launch on June the 30th. The prominent front of shirt position combined with in-stadium brand presence will enable SBOTOP to leverage the Premier League global audience. SBOTOP is a leading global online gaming operator committed to providing its players with exceptional value and the most complete gaming experience. Okay, that's from the article, an excerpt from it. So now I'm going to share my thoughts on this, and they might be different than some, but I'm actually not for this sponsorship deal. I'm done with the gambling companies being involved on shirt sponsors. I know this is going away in a few seasons, and I wish Fulham did not go in this direction. I understand it's about the money. It's about a record sponsorship deal. But I just think it would be nice if young kids could wear the same shirt as their parents, because young kids can't. So they will have to wear a shirt without a sponsor. It'd be nice if everyone in the family could wear the same shirt. But more importantly, I know that gambling companies are blowing up all over the world. Here in America, it's becoming a big deal. But I'm not against gambling. I'm not saying people shouldn't gamble. I just don't want that on the shirt. I just think it sends a very bad message. And I'm not for this. I'm just against this. It's just my feelings on it. I understand that it's a record deal for Fulham Football Club. Good for them. I just wish that they would stop with having gambling companies associated with Fulham Football Club. I know the sponsorship deals are going to be stopping in a few seasons. I just wish they made that decision now. But they didn't, and I'm against it. I'm completely against the sponsorship deal. Sorry, that's just how I feel. I'm an independent supporter, and I've got my views, and I'm against Fulham doing this. But it's their decision. They're going to have to live with it. Stop being associated with gambling companies. I'm not saying people shouldn't gamble, but my club that I support doesn't need to be a part of it. It just absolutely doesn't need to be a part of it. Sorry, that's just how I feel on that. They can do what they want. This is how I feel. Okay. Well, that's going to do it for this episode of Cottage Talk. As always, please do subscribe on YouTube and Apple Podcasts. It does help other Fulham supporters find us. Well, that's going to do it for this episode of Cottage Talk. My name is Russ Goldman. Thank you, as always, for watching and listening to Cottage Talk, part of the talkSPORT Fan Network.